You know, it's time someone asked the hard questions. Questions like, is a hot dog a sandwich? And, I mean, if it's not, what is it? When you pour milk into breakfast cereal, does it become a soup? Anyone else think it's kind of strange to think about the fact that if the sun is in the air, it's in the air all the time overhead, and yet we're not supposed to look at it? Aren't bachelor parties really more appropriate after divorces? Why is it that no matter how much you use your cell phone, it never shows up in your dreams? You know, if you were blind and you read the phrase, caution wet paint, in Braille, try to be too late. You know, since your dog understands things that you say, but you don't understand anything that your dog says, doesn't that maybe mean that the dog is smarter than you are? And, if a husband speaks and the wife isn't around to hear it, does she still think he's wrong? Why is it everybody's like all in awe of the fact that chimpanzees share 99% of their DNA with us, but nobody mentions that bananas and string beans share like 50%? Hey, wait a minute. You know, if you think about it, aren't all orchestras just really 1800s cover bands? And, you know, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? What do we all call biting down? You're not biting down. Your upper jaw doesn't move. Your lower jaw moves. You're biting up. How did the parents in Home Alone afford that house? Wait a minute. Is bubble tea a soup? You want to bet you no deaf person's ever asked in sign language? Where are you? And, you know, why is it that we park in a driveway but drive on parkways? Tell me you're just messing with us. I'll tell you that's what I think. Why is it that everyone's so surprised that the Eskimos, call them what you will, Inuit, whatever, have 100 words for snow? But no one questions the fact that makeup companies have like 1,000 different words for light brown. Isn't it weird that we took the time to name every single moon in our entire solar system except our own? Why is it that if it's a ground up cooked meat patty, we call it a hamburger, but even after we add all the other stuff, the bun and everything, we still just call it a hamburger? Is oatmeal soup? Why is it that it's considered lazy to sleep in, but going to bed early isn't? I mean, you're sleeping the same amount of time. You know how witches always are portrayed as turning people into animals? You know, you think about the most effective one for them to do that to would probably be a parrot. Every time you talked and tried to tell anybody what was going on, they'd just think it was a great trick. Why is it nobody ever talks about how gross belts and ties are? I mean, especially belts. It's the very first thing you touch after you take a crap, and it's not like anybody ever cleans them. Now that I mentioned that, you're gonna go pick up some leather cleaner and clean your belts. How is it that in The Incredibles, the parents knew to name their kid Dash without knowing that his superpower is going to be super speed? Isn't it awful ironic that only one company in the world is allowed to actually produce the board game Monopoly? You think the first person who ever made popcorn freaked out? What is happening to my food? Do bald guys still use shampoo? Or do they just use regular soap? Would it be wrong of me to get a tattoo of a QR code so that if I die and somebody decides to scan it, they get rickrolled? Why is that children's show called VeggieTales? Main characters are a cucumber and a tomato. Neither one of those is actually a vegetable. Why is it that when somebody hears a fact like a lion can jump 36 feet in a single jump, they assume that applies to all lions? But if you say, oh, this person can dunk, we don't assume that applies to everyone. Is the world actually getting dumber? Or is it just easier for really stupid people to get their thoughts heard?